All right, in this video, we are going to have a brief introduction to Google Sheets. We're going to have lots of time in class to play around with these things, so you don't need to memorize everything right now, but I want you to kind of see what some of the different things Google Sheets can do and the different things we're going to use it for. So you might initially be given a blank Google Sheet, or you might be given one that has some data already entered into it. So we're going to pretend that someone went to the park and they weighed a whole bunch of dogs and they got the weights of different dogs, right? Like little itty bitty tiny ones and bigger ones and all of the above. Now, once you have these numbers, there's various things you might want to do with them. You don't need to write down what I'm doing on the computer side. Over here, we're going to make a list of commands that you may want to remember. So the first thing maybe you want to know is what would be the total weight of all the dogs together. So anytime you are telling Google Sheets to do an equation for you, you start with equals. So equals means that you're going to tell it to do some sort of an equation. So if I click on this box over here, you just pick any random box that's not in the column that you're trying to work with. You're going to do equals, and then if I want to add them up, I'll do sum, a series of numbers and or cells. And then now it gives me parentheses. That's where it wants me to tell it what numbers to add up. So I have a choice. I can either highlight the specific numbers that I want by just clicking and dragging like that, and then I hit enter. Or I could do the same thing, but I could click the entire column. And notice it says A:A. That's telling you it wants all of the values in column A. It's going to skip things that aren't numbers. So it's going to skip the weight of dogs. So we can see we get the same answer either way. So what we just saw was equals sum means to add them up. And A:A means the whole column. And if you're not sure what you typed in, you can always click on a box and then look up top and it'll tell you. You can do like, A1 to A5, which I realize is not what I did, but I'm just making it smaller, would be cells 1 through 5 in column A, or row 1 through 5 for column A. All right, what else might we want? So you can also count the number of numbers. If you're like, how many dogs were there? On this one, it's silly because it's a short list, but you might have a longer list. Or you can, there's other ways you can do it. So you could say equals and then count the number of numeric values in a data set. Once again, I can do it either way. I'll do the column way this time. So I'll just click on column header, enter, so there's 14 columns. Now, I did this on purpose because now I want to show you how you can use values in a data set to just do an operation. So if you know the sum and you know the number of numbers, you can divide them to get the average, right? So I can say, once again, an equal sign because I want it to perform some sort of an operation for me. I'm going to take the sum and then I'm going to divide it by the number of numbers. And then I hit enter. So notice what showed up when I typed that. I clicked on the box that I wanted, and then it labeled it with what it is. So this is D2 divided by D3. And we use a slash to show division. What other operations could we do? Maybe you wanted to multiply. Let's see, let's label what we've got here first. This is sum, both of these are sum. This is the count, and this one was the average. Actually, before we do that, let's do the average again, or the mean. And this time you can actually get straight to it. So you can do equals average value in a data set. This is technically the mean. And I'll do column A, and it should give me the same answer as I got doing it the long way. So it can do all that math for us. All right, we can also do the 4 basic operations. So let's say I wanted to just use it as a calculator. I could be like equals 1 plus 1, and sure enough, it'll pop out 2. So you can, we can write them down over here. Like addition works the same way. Add, subtract works the way you'd expect it to, but make sure you have to put an equals first. Equals 10 minus 4. Haha, 6. Right? So the dash is like subtract. Multiply is weird. If you're trying to do 15, oops, I forgot equals. 15 times 3, you have to do the little asterisk star. So asterisk is multiply. If you wanted an exponent, so if you wanted to say 2 to the 5th power, you do the little caret symbol is what it's called. Exponent. I think those are the basic ones. One other function that it can do that's really helpful is, I'm going to go back over here. It can find quartiles for you. So you can do the math for you for making a box plot. It can't actually make a box plot, but it can find the numbers that you need. So we're going to type in quartile. And then I tell it what number set I want. So once again, I'm going to do the A column. But it doesn't know which quartile to do. So you have to do a comma and then tell it either 1, 2, or 3. Now, first quartile, third quartile, those make sense. Second quartile, that's like the median, right? So you could do a different one to do median. That might be a little bit easier. So I'll do 1. And that tells me that the first quartile of this data set is 12.25. So they've done the math for putting it in order for you and finding that first quartile. So this was quartile 1. So what we did there was equals quartile. Then you need to say which cells or which row, and then which quartile. So in my case, I did A1. But if I wanted the third quartile, I would just switch that for a 3, and it would give me the third quartile. Okay. You could also do median this way. Or median has its own command, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So you could do median and then the column, and it gives you that equals median. Play around when you're back in front of a Chromebook and see what other things you can find. I bet you can find other stuff that you know what to do with or that you recognize. All right, the other thing we can do is we can make a histogram. So these steps, there's a few steps, so make sure to write these down so that you have a better chance of remembering. So first thing we're going to do is identify the set of values. So I'm going to click on the column. Then I'm going to go to insert chart. So select data, insert chart, insert, and then chart. And then once we have that open, it's going to give me some different options. So this time it was automatically on histogram. I can't tell why. Sometimes when I do this, it automatically goes to a pie chart. Like, it's not that smart. So if you need to pick a different type of graph, you just click on the chart type and it gives you lots of different options. Most of these are kind of useless for the type of math that we're going to be doing. Histogram's the only one that we're going to use. And then if you want to, I have this all zoomed in so you guys can see it better, but if you want to change the intervals, you have to go to customize. So select histogram and then customize. And if you click on the histogram tab, it tells you the bucket size. So those are the intervals. So if I want this to have intervals of 10, I would click that rather than whatever random intervals it had before. Auto gave us intervals of 5 to 23. Like that's weird. Stick with normal, nice numbers. And then bucket size size gives us the intervals. So that's one thing you're going to want to change. There's other things you can do in here too. You can retitle things. Like if it didn't automatically get a nice title, you can change the title there. All right, you can close this part and the histogram will stay. You can drag it around the screen like so. And I think this is what I have for you. So hopefully this wasn't too super overwhelming. You'll get a chance to play around with it and it should make more sense. No practice problem for this one.